At Super Bowl 54 last week, a big red franchise captured the hearts of millions of fans by doing something pretty cool and pretty revolutionary. And no, I'm not talking about the Kansas City Chiefs winning the big game. I'm talking about Marvel Studios and the 30-second ad they ran to promote their new shows on Disney+. Most notably, Falcon and the Winter Solider, Wandavision, and Loki. Spoiler alert, I think all these shows look pretty fantastic, from the story premises, to the production value, to just getting more Marvel content after the wrap-up to part 1 of their whole franchise. Despite it being called the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's not just about the movies anymore, and I think that's huge if this franchise wants to continue with full steam. Despite making over 20 movies, all of which follow a pretty similar narrative structure, Marvel knows that they have to win back audiences and show that they can introduce appealing new stories, and the way they're doing this is really smart. And it's something that I see a lot of production companies doing as the future of the entertainment industry, giving us limited releases on Disney+. That's right, I said limited series. They're not just plain old TV shows that drag on, it has a set cinematic narrative and it won't have any filler, and that's pretty big. Traditional TV shows that are renewed for 7 or more years, both big and small, can be victim to this filler issue, anything from the Game of Thrones to The Office, both of which had beloved peaks and were cultural phenomenons, but just dragged on way too long and had bad endings that got boring after a while. For all the shit the new Star Wars movies got this year, The Mandalorian saved Lucasfilm, with 8 episodes that each had their own distinct purpose and styles, rather than dragging on and telling a useless story. So giving a limited series rather than an endlessly renewable TV show is tight, exciting, and I'm sure Marvel will provide the same joy with some of their new shows. I think the way they're gonna do this is to make sure that these new shows are character-based rather than plot-based. The main reason I hope they'll make it this way, and actually have faith that they will, is to make sure that they won't alienate audiences that, for whatever reason, don't watch the shows on Disney+, so they won't be confused and have movies not make sense because they didn't commit to watching a show, even if it is a shorter show. After all, they're still making movies meant for wide releases in theaters, so they still want to make money off of casual fans who come and see those, but aren't necessarily hardcore Marvel fans. With these new shows, they can have smaller plot points and a whole lot of character development in the shows to flesh out characters that are not given a whole lot in the movies. Sure, we all cried at Tony's death, because we spent a lot of time with him, over 10 years and 5 movies, but minor characters like Vision got less of an emotional reaction when they died, because the only movies that characters like him were in were big event movies that didn't give him a chance to get a whole lot of character development within that film. So this way, emphasizing characters before plot, you make sure casual audiences still get a comprehensive and complete narrative, so they know what's going on and can be entertained when they watch the big team-up movies, but you also give the hardcore fans something to look forward to, by rewarding their viewings of the shows with small details that are enhanced when you recall information from the shows that eventually show up in the movies. For example, when I saw Rogue One 4 years ago, I loved the character of Saw Gerrera, despite having never seen Clone Wars, where he originated. His role in the movie made sense to me, and I thought he was a good minor character. However, after watching both Clone Wars and Rebels and seeing him there, his death in Rogue One feels a lot more impactful to me. But both times I saw the movie, both before and after seeing Clone Wars and Rebels, his role in the movie made sense to me. See what I mean? Marvel has the potential to do this too, and I'm sure they're already planning to. Just look at this shot of Helmut Zemo, villain of Captain America Civil War in 2016. How cool would it be if this character, who was already great in his theatrical introduction, got a whole lot more development in the Winter Soldier show, and then comes back in a future movie as an even better villain. That way, casual audiences will recognize him from Civil War, but hardcore fans will recognize him from the shows, and both sides will be entertained. If Marvel embraces this approach to world building, where they slow down and let characters that previously had cool moments in films, like Sam Wilson, Bucky, Wanda, and Vision, actually have intelligent character arcs within these longer screen times in the shows, they can make sure both casual and hardcore fans are happy campers. Another big reason this limited release format is going to be great is because it'll really extend the shelf life of new Marvel properties and make them relevant for a lot longer than if it were a theatrical release. Even though Endgame grossed a shit ton of money, most of the audience watched it once or twice in the span of about a week, and by week 3, the hype died down considerably because everyone had scrambled to see it opening weekend to avoid spoilers, so most of the buzz centered around that time period. In contrast, the new Marvel shows will likely follow a similar release format to The Mandalorian, where we got a new episode every week for about 8 weeks, or just over 2 months. This gives everyone a chance to watch just one episode a week, And if the episode is good, which it most likely will be, it'll generate a whole lot of buzz about what'll happen next week. Let's go back in time. This is the format that allowed early mediums of entertainment to thrive, like the serial films of the early 20th century that comics are literally based on. These adventures like Tarzan, Flash Gordon, or the Green Hornet gave a lot of fun to audiences who could come back every week and find out what happened. It was like an event, but more drawn out. It made stuff more exciting than binging it all in one go. Even though some modern shows like Stranger Things have managed to be cultural phenomenons when they dump entire seasons on us at once, I think serialized formats are a lot better because it prolongs the excitement. And the serialized format through limited release isn't just nostalgia for vintage media. Just think about The Mandalorian's weekly releases and how much that helped the show out. There was an entire 8 weeks from the introduction of the mysterious Baby Yoda to the conclusion of Season 1's story. And whether you love Baby Yoda or you absolutely hate him, there's absolutely no denying that for those entire 2 months The Mandalorian was running, Baby Yoda memes and buzz dominated your Twitter feed. If Marvel does this release pattern for Wandavision, Loki, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I'm sure they probably will, these weekly releases will elevate the show from one binge-worthy weekend project to a phenomenon that dominates media headlines for far longer than any of their films, even Endgame, could ever manage to do. So I've listed a few reasons why, even though they're in a post-Endgame hangover, I think the future of Marvel Studios is brighter than ever thanks to these new shows. So we'll just have to wait until the fall to see if that holds true.